Right now, there's one question on everyone's mind, from the highest levels of government all the way down to everyday conversations. And honestly, the answer could change everything for all of us. So, will the United States attack Iran, or is Iran going to make the first move? The signals we're getting right now are, well, they're really, really worrying. Tensions are already sky high, and if either side makes one wrong move, the entire region could just go up in flames.
So, you might be wondering, how do we know this isn't just more political talk? Well, it's because we're seeing clear, tangible signs that both sides are getting ready for something real. The kind of moves you make just before the shooting starts. For starters, India has told its citizens to get out of Iran. Now, this is not your standard travel advisory. We've seen this kind of warning before, and it brings back some really dark memories of previous bombings in Iran where thousands of people were killed. That memory is still incredibly fresh. And at the very same time, the US is moving its own pieces on the chessboard. They've ordered troops to evacuate several military bases in the Middle East, especially the ones sitting right on Iran's doorstep. This is a classic move, right out of the military playbook. It's something you only do when you're expecting a huge attack, or you're about to launch one yourself. Meanwhile, Iran isn't being subtle. They've said out in the open that if they get hit, they will go after American and Israeli military bases. And here's the crucial part. We've blown past simple threats and statements. We are now watching actual physical preparations for a conflict. But maybe the most chilling sign of all is the silence. Right now, there is absolutely zero communication between the United States and Iran. No official talks, no secret back-channel discussions, nothing. Just silence. And history tells us that the chances of war are highest when the talking stops completely.
Okay, but there's another huge player in this dangerous game, and we have to talk about their moves too. What is Israel's role in all of this?
Here's a really interesting development. A plane carrying Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has just landed in Greece. Now, that might sound like a tiny random detail, right? But here's the thing. The last time Israel carried out a major strike against Iran, the exact same thing happened. Netanyahu was out of the country. The logic is pretty stark. If Iran fires back with missiles, Israel is a direct target, and no leader wants to be in the line of fire personally. When you see patterns like this repeating, it usually means something very serious is about to happen. Now, while all of this is happening on the outside, you have to understand what's going on inside Iran to get the full picture. The country is in the middle of a massive internal crisis, and it's adding a whole new, volatile layer to this geopolitical tinderbox. For months now, huge protests have been erupting all across the country, and the government's response has been absolutely brutal. We're hearing reports of mass arrests, people just disappearing, and a vicious crackdown on anyone who speaks out. The official number of protesters killed by the government is over 2,000. Just let that number sink in for a second. And as shocking as that is, some international media outlets are saying the real number could be much, much higher. So one thing's for sure, the Iranian government is under an incredible amount of pressure from its own people. And this is where things get even more dangerous. Because that kind of internal weakness can look like an opportunity to outside powers. As we've seen time and time again in history, foreign intervention often becomes a lot more likely when a nation is in turmoil at home. So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, this is bad, but why should I, sitting halfway across the world, really care? Well, here's why. A conflict in Iran will not stay contained in Iran. The ripple effects will be felt everywhere by everyone. Let's just take India as an example to see how real and tangible the stakes are for the rest of the world. Why does a crisis in Iran matter so much to a country like India? Well, for starters, there's the huge strategic investment in the Chabahar port, which is India's gateway to Central Asia. A war could just wipe that out. Then there's oil, you know it. Any major conflict in the Middle East makes oil prices shoot through the roof, which directly hits India's economy with higher fuel costs and inflation. And maybe most critically, there are thousands of Indian citizens who live and work in that region. Their safety immediately becomes a massive concern. So all of this leads us to the most urgent question of all. What happens next? Where is this all headed? As it stands, it looks like there are 3 possible paths this crisis could take, and each one is more dangerous than the last. So, Scenario 1, a limited tit-for-tat military strike that could easily spiral out of control. Scenario 2, a much wider proxy war that pulls in all of Iran's allies across the region, creating total chaos. And scenario 3, the most dangerous option on the table, an all-out attempt by foreign powers to force regime change in Iran, which would have completely unpredictable and catastrophic consequences. Right now, it's impossible to know which way it's going to go.
And amidst all this, Iran is making its position crystal clear. Their embassy in India recently put out a very strong statement, basically warning that the actions of powerful countries are pushing the world toward chaos and that staying quiet isn't going to make the danger just disappear.
And that's really the bottom line here. What we're watching unfold is not just another regional flare-up. This is one of those moments that could fundamentally reshape global politics and alliances for decades to come. So the next few days are absolutely critical. The entire world is holding its breath. And it all comes down to one final haunting question. Is there any time left for diplomacy to work? Or has the countdown to conflict already reached zero?